So my girlfriend 32 and myself 35 have been together over 8 years. The beginning of our relationship was great and consisted of making memories and enjoying every second together. My girlfriend got a new job that she worked extremely hard to get, and I was proud of her. Unfortunately, months into the new job, she began to act strange. She was hiding her phone and coming home from work late, but always had an excuse. After weeks of dealing with this illness, finally started to question myself if she was cheating. Her car went into the shop, and I had to bring her two in from work, and she wasn't allowed to have her phone at the time, so she left it in my car. I went out with my buddy one night for a few beers, and her phone kept going off. I got curious, so I checked it to see what was up. First, the caller was a co-worker and basically told me they had been talking for weeks and were getting pretty serious. I hung up with him and then went through her phone, and what I found was so painful. Pictures she sent to a different co-worker along with texts discussing the sex they had and what they wanted to do to each other next time. Without going further into detail, it got really bad. That night was bad, and when I picked her up from work, we spoke and spent a few hours talking it over and agreeing to stay together. Things got better than ever and stayed that way for years. Then we got lucky, and she was pregnant with my son 4 now. After giving birth to my son, she started acting weird again and blamed it on the baby, and she didn't feel or see herself as the same person anymore. I figured with my help she'd get through it and we'd move on stronger. I was wrong. She had started a romance with another co-worker who happened to be a supervisor for her. She cheated on me for an entire year before I found out. I was installing a subwoofer in her car for her because she wanted some bass. While working my butt off, she was inside checking our security cameras, making sure I was outside so she could talk to her new man. She wasn't paying attention to the cameras that afternoon, and I walked into the room to see her playing with herself with her phone extended to capture the act. I immediately said, "What the fuck is going on?" and she convinced me she was just horny and wanted to masturbate to some porn. I left the room and said it's possible, but unlikely. I went back to work on the car to clear my head. While setting up the subwoofer box, I dropped a screw into her work bag. I reached into it and found the screw in a used piece of lingerie. I questioned her about this, and she exclaimed, "I want Mint to find it because it was to be a surprise for myself." At this point, I'm confused and extremely upset. I left to clean up the car since I was done with the stereo, and when I came back in, she was wearing the lingerie and came on to me. I denied her advances and left the house. I came back a few hours later to her sleeping and myself left to my own thoughts. I eventually said fuck it in checking her phone. I carefully picked it up and unlocked it and found everything I feared and more. Their conversations, the pictures and videos shared with each other. Excuses they came up with to keep me from finding out, and everything in between. At this point, my son is turning 2, and I love this girl, and obviously don't have a good self-esteem, so after we spoke about it, we tried again to work it out. Now it's present day, and her actions are slowly going in that direction. Constantly on her phone and ignoring me. We never have sex anymore, and when I ask why, she says it's because I never try to get her in the mood, but she's willing, she says. I always felt inadequate after the cheating, so I told her to tell me she wanted to have sex. She goes to work early and stays late. Always excuses about why these things are happening, and I don't know what to do. She's learned from her last 2 affairs not to keep things on her phone anymore, so I don't know how to figure this out. But I'm dying here, because if she is cheating again, I have to leave her and protect my son at all costs. I don't know why I'm here in this moment and this situation, but my son deserves better. I left out tons of horrible details of the things she did while cheating or what she said to her partners and try to keep it from me, so just use your imagination of how bad it is. Should I be doing something to protect myself? What can I do or implement to catch her in the act or get proof so I can stop this madness?